Yeah, still the same. Bob Seger there with the Silver Bullet Band on ABC Illawarra, ABC Newcastle and New South Wales. Thanks for having us on at your place today. Paul is my name. Now, when you enter into the contract of marriage, even if it includes the bit about, till death us do part, you're probably not thinking about the death part, right? You're thinking about the fabulous time you're going to have your life or lives together. And you certainly wouldn't contemplate how lonely you might feel if your spouse was to die before you. And although you might think your partner might handle your death better than you would theirs, a new study led by the University of Melbourne has found that loneliness after the death of a spouse is felt uniformly, regardless of gender, health or wealth. Dr. Rosanne Freak-Poli is a senior researcher from Monash University who led this study and is with us now. Rosanne, thanks for coming on. Good morning.
Thanks for having me, Paul.
So what was this is your wheelhouse, of course, this study. That's the field of investigations that you do research into. But what was the specific requirement of this study? What were you trying to find out?
Well, I thought that if someone was grieving from loss of a partner, that if they had more people around them or if they felt supported by even just a few people that were around them, that they would have lower loneliness. But that's not what we found.
So how did you go about checking your assertions?
So what we did is we took data from the Household Income Labour Dynamics in Australia survey, which is called HILDA, and this is a representative sample of Australians living in their houses, and people are visited every year to fill in surveys. We looked at 19 years of data, and we found 750 widowed people and compared them to nearly 8,500 married people to look at these differences in loneliness over time. And what we found was that looking at people just before they became widowed to 3 years after they became widowed, we found that loneliness starts to increase on the way leading up to the death of a partner, and then it peaks at about 1 year after their partner has been lost. And it didn't matter the number of people they had around them, how supported they felt, their health, their wealth. Everyone was feeling this loneliness.
I mentioned that you work in this space, so you're trying to work out whether if you intervene, you can make a difference. Is that what you were trying to accomplish?
That's right. I was trying to work out if we could come up with a solution to help people through this phase in their life. And unfortunately, it's not the number of people or increasing their social support. Everyone's probably going to feel this loneliness, and it's going to last a little while. So it increased double for women and 3 times for men, and it peaks at around 1 year after death, and then it slowly starts to decrease.
And that's pretty much, as far as you know, not a lot you can do about that.
Not a lot you can do. Men who were wealthier had some protection, and women who were living in poverty or had long-term mental health conditions actually had exacerbated, so worse feelings of loneliness during bereavement. So unfortunately we didn't find anything particular that was protective. However, we do have some solutions. One thing is to think about your future self if you're not ready to make changes now, but thinking about your interests and things that you may have compromised during your relationship, because we all make compromises, and thinking about, starting to initiate those things in your life coming forward. So it might be an art class or travel or things that you've put off, potentially if your partner has been unwell as well.
Isn't it incredible, though, you'll talk to someone who lost their partner some years ago, and they'll still start a sentence with we always do this and we do that. So much of your life is invested in the relationship, and do you lose a sense of self a little bit through that process?
I believe that having a partner is such a strong bond that we can't really replace it with someone else. So yes, it is part of our identity, I think, being in a relationship, or certainly it's for myself, and we do think of ourselves as with that partner, especially if you've spent a long time. Sometimes people have been with their partner for most of their life. So it's really hard to not think of yourself with that person.
And of course your life can deteriorate as well. It's not just the tragedy of the loss, is that if you are dependent on that person, as you suggested, someone who has mental health issues or socioeconomic challenges, then that can, I'd imagine that loss would be felt even more and for a longer period of time.
That's right. So one of the things that we've thought about is, when you are by yourself, your way of living changes. So it is difficult to cook for one, for instance, and have a healthy meal, or, feel like you want to go for a walk. It's a bit different than having a walk with a partner. But what we would recommend, one of the solutions is in the UK, is built into the healthcare system, this term called social prescribing, and it's meeting up with someone who helps you navigate the next phase of, in this case, widowhood, but it could be for anyone experiencing needs or loneliness. And what they do is help you reconnect with the resources in your area. So this is potentially, you could go, even anyone listening, if you're looking at doing something new or different, you can talk to your local council, your local library, your neighbourhood house if you have one, and ask them what activities they have going on. A lot of them have free activities and free courses that you can join in and meet people in your community if you want to get out there.
Yeah, it makes sense. Rosanne, I appreciate you sharing your insight with us. Thanks for chatting today.
Thank you. I will leave your listeners with one thing, which is Friendline. It's called 1-800 for chats. 1-800-424-287. If you'd like to have a chat, if you're feeling lonely or whatever reason, just pick up the phone and someone's on the other end of the line. Happy to have a chat with you.
Okay, the number again?
1-800 for chats. So it's 1-800-424-287.